Over to you, Rebecca.
Hi, Liz. When approaching the subject of sexual intimacy following cancer, there can be many perceived barriers to this, but what can help both psychologically and physically to break these down gently?
This is a fantastic question. Where do you start? And I started with people on Twitter reaching out and telling me what they'd used that I now share. And I'm going to go through the tools that I use to help make penetrative sex less painful. But before we get there, sex can be really, really, really hard to talk about. And how do you start that conversation when it's burning a hole and you need to get it done? The worst place is in bed or when you're about to start. We've all been there. It's all really awkward. Don't do it then. A really great way of broaching a difficult conversation with your partner is finding a book or a film or a podcast that discusses it, that kind of shares how you're feeling, and say, for example, I talk about relationships and sex in my book, and it's not just about breast cancer. You could say, I read this. Could you read it and could we discuss it? I did a podcast with the amazing Samantha Evans from Joe Devine, and we talked about sex and sexual grief. And women rang in to say thank you. I listened to this and it made sense. And I then asked my husband if we could listen to it together and then talk about it afterwards, as a way of hearing other people talk. So my husband did this. He had something he wanted to talk to me about, and he mentioned a podcast, and I had my mind on another thing. And I said, oh yeah, they could be a guest. He said, no, you don't get it. I want you to listen to it so we can talk. And he actually had to say, can you listen to this and then can we talk about it? Be really, really explicit. And that way, it's a really good way of introducing that subject. You know, you've both listened or read or heard the same things. And it might be a really good starting point of saying, how did that make you feel? Well, that's how I'm feeling. I think it's a really good way of just starting to broach that conversation if it's not something you can do yourself. When it comes to things that can help you physically have sex again, the first thing I want to say is anyone who has a colostomy, it can be really, really hard to feel sexy. When you look at the little pretty pants, you get an M&S, you think, I'm not going to put them on, I've got a stoma. But Sam had a great tip. You can get some really nice high-waisted crotchless knickers. So you can put them on and they cover the stoma, they keep it in place, but because they're crotchless, you can still have sex wearing the pants. Men can do it and keep their boxer shorts on, but little things like that, or some beautiful, pretty kind of bralettes that you can wear that are soft just to cover the scars so you still feel attractive. It feels a bit weird going in a shop like Ann Summers looking for this kind of stuff, but actually it might be a different way of helping you feel a bit more secure when you're exposing your body to somebody else. The next thing I want to talk about is lube. When you don't have a libido, when you're not on the mood, you can get very, very dry for whatever reason. And I think everyone should use lubricants. Sex is meant to be fun. We're not talked about at school, you know, just you go and physically have sex, but no, sex can be amazing with lubricant. And there are two that I recommend. The first is by a company called Yes. It's oil and water-based and for anal and vaginal use. And you should be able to get it on prescription, but some GPs are being a bit picky, or you can get it from the website. The thing about this is there are no chemicals, no glycerins, no parabens, no preservatives in it. You don't want to put anything in your vagina that isn't natural because you'll get a thrush and horrible infections. They also do a vaginal moisturizer that you can squirt inside 2 or 3 times a week, but this, a dollop, get your partner to warm it up in his hands and then give you a massage with it. It's a really, really great way of helping things slide. Another alternative is a lubricant called Sutil, which is silicone-based. Which feels a bit different. Again, these are completely safe, no chemicals, no preservatives, and they're both sold on the Joe Devine website. This is your secret weapon. It can be a great way of massaging your penis, your partner's penis, if he's a man, to help get him hard. It's just a great way of making things slide. You may find you need more direct clitoral stimulation with it, but seriously, get this, make sex fun, it can help. If you are scared that sex is going to be painful, or you're worried that you're dry and tighten up and you might not be able to get an erection inside, you can get dilators. There's a pack of 5 from a company called Inspira. This is the middle-sized one. They start at little finger size and they go up to the size of an erection. They're silicone, they're waterproof. The ring stops them getting lost inside. And what you can do is in the shower, you can slowly dilate yourself, starting with a little one. You think, if I can get that in, I build up. And then when you know you can get the biggest one in, you think, well, okay, I can probably let my partner come inside me, or someone use a dildo, and it's a really nice, safe way. You could use them with your partners of just stretching the vaginal wall. Doing this whilst you masturbate to an orgasm can also help, because the vaginal wall muscles need to relax and stretch, and the two of them together can be a really great way of getting things going. There's another thing I want to talk about. It's a great product called an O-Nut. It is a stretchy silicone ring. They come in packs of 4. I can get them on my hand. And the idea with the O-Nuts, sorry mum, you put them on a partner's penis. So this is the largest dilator. And by putting them on the partner's penis, a lot of women find sex is quite painful when their partners are thrusting quite deeply. What this does is limit the depth of penetration. So you don't need to worry about fear that they're going in too deep, and the partner still feels they're inside you, because these are really quite nice and tight and firm, again, with a bit of lubricant. And that is a brilliant way of, again, being able to relax. It's one less thing to worry about. It feels really awkward introducing all these sex toys into your life and saying, hi, honey, things are a bit different. And it may be that you need to take the bold step and say, right, I wanted to do something about it. Jo Define is a great catalogue. She's got women in the 90s buying vibrators who are lonely in nursing homes. So maybe just getting that and saying, right, let's have a look. What did we have when we were 16? Everyone had a rabbit vibrator. Let's just have a play and see. If you, as the cancer patient, you've lost your libido and you feel that your partner doesn't want sex anymore because they're scared of hurting you and they won't initiate it, it can feel quite hard, because especially if they were the one that always did get things going and they're not, because they don't want to hurt you. And it may be that this is something you need to do. Almost put it in the diary. It's been a month. I need to start things. I don't want to because I'm not in the mood and I have no libido and I'd rather have a cup of tea, but for the good of the relationship, I need to start it. And the more you do it, the easier it gets and the more natural it feels. But there is a bit of, right, okay, if this is important to us, this is something I need to do. But using lubricant and those toys are a really, really good way of starting to explore how you can have penetrative sex again.
Thank you, Liz. Is there any other questions from any of the team before I stop the recording on that? Okie dokie.